In this video, I'm going to talk about hurdle technology in the food industry. Hey, how are you doing today? This is the voice of Arib Ershad and welcome back to the channel. If you are new here, then I make simple and easy to understand lectures, videos and tutorials for the students of food science and technology. So if you are new here, consider subscribing, and today I'm doing a voiceover presentation video on hurdle technology in the food industry. So without further ado, let's jump right into today's topic. I'm definitely sure that you must have seen or heard about a hurdle race. Now there's also a hurdle race that is going on between the microorganisms, right? Whenever we harvest, whenever we pluck fruits or vegetables from their trees or plants, what happens that microorganisms right after harvesting them attack these food products or raw fruits and vegetables. They start spoiling these food products. And there's a race between the microorganisms that is going on in the food industry. What we do, we provide some different hurdles for the microorganisms so that they cannot cross and enter into the food. And if they cross all these hurdles that have been designed or provided by a food technologist, then they will definitely enter into our food. So today's topic is hurdle technology in the food industry once again, and this is the overview of this whole presentation. First of all, I'm going to tell you that why we need hurdle technology. Next, I will tell you that what is hurdle technology, and then what are the hurdles in the food, what are the major hurdles in the food, and how does it work, and where do we apply it, and finally the summary of this video. So why do we need hurdle technology in the food industry? The consumers are eating out day by day. There's a trend that is growing that consumers are eating out and consuming more ready-to-eat food products. And there is more demand of minimally processed because consumers are growing more aware that the processed food are not so beneficial as minimally processed food and fresh and natural food. So they are demanding more minimally processed, fresh and natural food products. And also with the evolution of the humans, the microorganisms are also evolving. What is happening that since we are providing different hurdles for the microorganisms so that they cannot grow, the microorganisms are starting to find new routes so that they can enter into the food. And that is why we need a specific technology, we need a specific technique that combines a lot of preservative effects so that the microorganisms or spoilage microorganisms do not enter into our food and the sensory, nutritional quality and economic quality remains intact. And that technology or that preservation technique or the combination of the preservation technique is hurdle technology. All right, so moving on to the next one, and that is hurdle technology. What is hurdle technology? See, hurdle technology is the combination of more than one preservation technique. See, you must know pasteurization, you must know sterilization, you must know refrigeration, right? These are some of the preservation techniques that we see that we have studied as a graduate in food science and food technology. But what happens in hurdle technology, we combine two or more than two preservation factors or preservation techniques. And we have seen that in real life too. If we are buying a milk pouch, for example, we are buying Amul's milk or Mother Dairy's milk, what we see that it is refrigerated milk and that is packed. Now that milk is already pasteurized and that is packed in a packaging. And again, when we bring it at home, we heat it again and then we refrigerate it again. So these are multiple preservation techniques that are being applied to one single product. And that complete combination of the preservation techniques is hurdle technology. And hurdle technology is proactive and preventative tool. That means you cannot apply hurdle technology after a hazard has already occurred in a food. You have to apply hurdle technology before you are preparing a food product. And there's a thing about hurdle technology that it minimizes the risk, but it does not completely eliminate it. There is some amount of risk that is left, but if we intelligently apply the hurdles, what will happen that the risks will be minimized up to a safe limit. Now again, synergistic results are achieved when we use a lot of hurdles, when we use different hurdles in combination. Now synergistic means combined effect, and we have to use hurdles in combination, in such an intelligent combination that microorganisms do not grow, the sensory quality remains intact. Moving on, the hurdles in the food. Now what are the major hurdles in the food? See, There are three major hurdles. There are actually 60 hurdles that have been identified, but there are 4 or 5 major hurdles. The first one is pH, the second one is water activity, the third one is temperature, and there are a lot of preservative factors or hurdles in the food. So again, hurdles, there are a lot of hurdles, but we usually apply 4 or 5 hurdles in a food product. And the same hurdles could have a positive, negative, or negative effect on the food based on its intensity. Now, what does this mean? See, this means if we are refrigerating or chilling milk at below 4 degrees Celsius, what will happen that it is beneficial for the shelf life. It will extend the shelf life of the milk. But if we apply same temperature for chilling a banana or other food product, it may get a chilling injury and it will disrupt the texture of that particular fruit or vegetable. So it depends. You have to apply specific hurdles and specific conditions based on its functional properties, its physiochemical properties. Okay, so moving on to the next one, and we have its principle and how it works. See, the first key phenomenon is homeostasis. And homeostasis is basically an organism's ability to stabilize itself. See, we have homeostasis too. The humans and the higher animals also perform homeostasis. Whenever certain conditions in the outside environment change, our body also changes according to that outside environment. And in the similar fashion, the microorganisms also continuously adapt themselves and their body conditions according to the outside environment. They have some tendency to maintain their internal pH and internal temperature so that they can survive for a long period of time. And if somehow we can disrupt the homeostasis of the microorganisms, what will happen that the microorganisms will remain inactive and they will not grow. And the next principle is metabolic exhaustion. Whenever we are applying some hurdles on the food product, what happens that microorganisms try to maintain and cope up their homeostasis, and while doing that, they completely use up their energy and they have no energy left for growth and for development. And what happens? They eventually die. So the next one is stress reactions. Now, this is something a little different than homeostasis and metabolic exhaustion. What happens here that under continuous stress, some bacteria becomes even more resistant under the stress, and they release some stress shock proteins. And what happens that these stress shock proteins and the bacteria that is resistant, that causes that affects the texture, the nutrition quality, the microbial stability of the food. And these stress reactions work against the hurdles, and that is a very common case if we apply a lot of hurdles and we have applied these hurdles without thinking about them, without doing some research on them. And to avoid these stress reactions, what we can do, that is our fourth principle, and that is multi-target preservation. If we can apply the hurdles simultaneously at the same time at different parts of a microorganisms, what will happen? The microorganism or the bacteria will not have sufficient time to maintain their homeostasis. What happens that we apply the hurdles to some specific areas. For example, we can apply the hurdles to a cell wall, we can apply hurdles to the enzyme colloidal solution, or we can apply the hurdles to the cell membrane, we can apply the hurdles to the nucleus or the different parts of a cell. So what happens that when different hurdles are applied on the same microorganisms at the same time, the microorganism or the bacteria doesn't have sufficient time to grow and to adapt to the outside conditions, and it eventually dies. So that is multi-target preservation, and that should be our goal of hurdle technology. Whenever we are applying hurdles, we have to maintain the hurdles, we have to apply the hurdles so that the targets are multiple and we apply these hurdles at the same time. Now the next one is how and where to apply. See, we apply it in the agriculture, we can apply it at the farm level. Second, we can apply it at the formulation level when we are formulating or developing a new product. And the third, we can apply it at the packaging level. Fourth, we can apply definitely at the processing level. And fifth, that most of us don't consider very important, is distribution and merchandising. So that is also very important. So let us just take a little deeper look in each of these points. So first one is good agricultural practices. See, we have to conduct field audits in the agriculture at the farm level so that we can maintain good agriculture practices, so that we can control the amount of microorganisms, the spoilage microorganisms, the pathogenic microorganisms at the field level. And what we can do surface blanching if possible. See, there are tomatoes and some fruits and vegetables, and usually vegetables blanching is usually done for the vegetables. If we can blanch these vegetables at the farm level, what will happen, that microbial load will reduce at the source itself. And we can also do sanitation of the cutting equipment and the equipments that are used in the farming, so that we can reduce the microbial load in the crops. The next one is formulation, and definitely we use a lot of preservatives in the processed food to prevent the growth of microorganisms in the food, and we can also maintain water activity control. But hey, what happens if we are using milk? We cannot add acidulants, antioxidants, and antimicrobial agents in the milk. If Mother Dairy is selling milk, or if Amul or any other brand is selling milk to you, they cannot add antioxidants and all that stuff. So what will they do? They will follow packaging. Definitely, they will follow packaging, and they will follow processing hurdles. I will come back to processing hurdles. First of all, let me talk about packaging hurdles. So, see, packaging, we always do packaging of the processed products that are available in the stores. We see packaging, there are different types of packaging, and packaging is a different niche and different category. It is a wide and broad subject that I will come down to in later videos. All you need to know about packaging right now is that packaging acts as a barrier to the outside environment, and it does not allow sunlight or dirt or microorganisms from entering into the food. And there are different types of packaging like MAP and active packaging, intelligent packaging. There are a lot of packagings right now available, and a lot of research is being done on the packaging. I'll make a different video on packaging later on. So the fourth one is processing hurdles. We have been doing this since the beginning of the food industry, food technology era. So the thermal processing, you know that thermal means temperature, and the thermal processing is done whenever we are pasteurizing, whenever we are blanching, sterilizing the food products like milk. And non-thermal processing is there too. And these are some of the newly developed techniques, the novel techniques that do not use thermal processing, and they involve irradiation, ultra high pressure, and food nanotechnology is also involved in this one. So this is also a different topic. I will discuss this in my later videos. And so basically this means that we can improve the nutrition quality, the sensory quality, while we apply hurdles in the processing. All right, so moving on to the fifth one, and that is distribution and merchandising control. Whenever we are taking out milk from the tankers, and what we do, we have to make sure, because the milk or the other products can come into contact with the outside environment and outside microorganisms, and that can spoil the food. And this becomes even more important in the case of highly perishable food products, and that is milk. So this is the summary of this whole video and this whole presentation. I'm not going to read out this one. You can pause over here and read it for yourself. But what I want to say over here is that hurdle technology is the combination of the different preservative factors or preservative techniques, and if we apply them intelligently and while studying the physical-chemical properties of a specific food product, we can make a food product minimally processed, fresh and natural, and meet the demands of the consumers. And these are the references from which I have studied, and you can pause the video right now if you want to know about these references. And this was it for today. Let me know down in the comments if you have not understood some certain concept, or if you want me to explain some certain concept in much depth and detail. Let me know down in the comments. Give it a thumbs up if you found this useful, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you once again. Class dismissed.